Hello, Andy from Twisted Narrative here, and I'm here to ask the question why you should play Shadowdark. I've done a couple of videos which take an in-depth look both at player and GM quick start rules. If you haven't seen them already, you can catch them on our YouTube channel, and I've put a link in the chat below. But I also felt I should do a quick video summing up why I love this system so much and why I genuinely believe that you should give it a go. The blurb on their Kickstarter reads as follows. In Shadowdark RPG, you and your group of crawlers use magic, steel, and wits to delve into mysterious ruins, lost cities, and monster-infested depths. Wondrous treasures and long-forgotten secrets await you. But don't let your last torch burn out, or you could be swallowed by the Shadowdark. 5e players will find what they've been waiting for, an intuitive and complete TTRPG that serves as a seamless bridge into the heart of the old school Renaissance. Old school gamers will find a system that is familiar and nostalgic, but with major quality of life upgrades that modernize the old school experience. Your legend awaits, crawler. Lift your blade, light your torch, and plunge into the unknown depths of the Shadowdark. Well, I mean, it sounds cool, but why should you give it a look? Well, let me tell you a story. I'm a big fan of Celtic myths, and it very much reminds me of this one. As a young man, Lou travelled to Tara to join the court of King Nuada of the Tuatha. The doorkeeper would not let him in unless he had a skill he could use to serve the king. He offers his services as a writer, a smith, a champion, a swordsman, a harpist, a hero, a poet, historian, a sorcerer, and a craftsman. But each time he's rejected as the Tuatha already have someone with that skill. When Lou asks if they have anyone with all those skills simultaneously, the doorkeeper has to admit defeat, and Lou joins the court of the king. Well, you see, for me, Shadowdark has all of the best bits of many other games, all brought together, skillfully woven to become something that is much more than the sum of its parts. We'll go through this sort of briefly. Again, the features that they mention on their Kickstarter are as follows. Shadowdark RPG has familiar elements of classic fantasy gaming, but it isn't a retro clone. A lot of new game design ideas have emerged in the last 50 years, and we wanted to bring our favourite concepts together into a nostalgic but new adventuring system. In this game, torches only last 1 hour of real time. The characters and players must make decisions quickly or they run out of precious light. A few other features include the 4 core classes: fighter, priest, thief and wizard, a D20 based roll high system, no dark vision. Total darkness is dangerous. Yes, player characters, their characters don't have dark vision. The dark is real, and when your torch burns out, things do get incredibly dangerous. Treasure grants XP, and tracking it is dead simple. You roll to cast spells. Magic is exciting and risky. This is a very interesting mechanic. You don't have a reserve of energy or spell slots, but instead you do a spell casting check, and if you succeed, your spell works. If you fail, the spell fails, but you can't cast that spell again until you take a long rest. If you critically fail, it is much more severe. You have to do penances, or you might get a miscast if you are a mage. It really ups the game and makes choices interesting and challenging. they have simple distances, close, near, and far, which is fantastic, especially if you're playing Theatre of the Mind. Monster morale and reaction rolls, again, really useful. You don't necessarily want fights if it's obvious that one side has won, especially if it's the players that have won. It's better that they rout and flee than you just have to go through the process of grinding through all of those many hit points. Always on initiative, time is easy to track. Again, this is very fantastic. Initiative, even when you're not in combat, it means players take turns, they do things, they are constantly doing things. It keeps a pace to the game, and with that pace is excitement and engagement. Absolutely brilliant. I love this one. The 6 classic stats, 3d6 in order. For those of you who are not familiar with what classic stats mean, these are strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. But an old school way of doing it was to roll the 3d6, add them up, and list them in order. You then choose the class that you're playing based on the stats that you've rolled. I have a feeling that if this isn't fun at your table, you can easily sort of homebrew it, that you can place them wherever you want. But it just makes me smile remembering of the many times that, and the many characters I made when I was much, much younger. No skills, just ability checks and advantage and disadvantage. I certainly believe advantage and disadvantage is a very sweet and clever mechanic. It removes kind of heavy maths from the game, allows the game to flow quite nicely. So I'm very pleased to see that still in there. And I'm also very pleased to see that there are no skills. I believe that if you have lots and lots of rules, that tells you what you can do, but it also tells you what you can't do. And by removing skills and just having ability checks, it gives agency to players to be creative, to try things that they know is a skill from a different character class. So they're not going to even try and do that. That's very cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing the players at my table be very creative. Separate ancestry and class. Randomized character class abilities, emergent character growth. This is fun. As you get more sort of talent, you roll randomly, and it means that different characters of the same class are going to have be different from each other. Low hit points, fast and deadly combat. Great. We kind of want combat to be fast and not grindy. It can still be tactical, but it can be fast. And also low hit points also equates to that scare factor of, are we going to survive this? Choosing fights carefully. Simple encumbrance, gear slots. I love this as well, especially in this style of game where you have limited resources with light, so you're delving deep, or crawling as Shadowdark call it, and you can only carry a certain amount of gear. Now, obviously, there are all sorts of encumbrance rules, and most of them are it's like doing the maths exam or studying accountancy and balancing and doing maths. It takes the joy out of the game. You found all this treasure and you're not sure whether you can carry it, and people sit around scratching their heads trying to work out whether they can do this or not. Gear slots resolve this. Either you can or you can't. You choose the items of the best value you can find, and then you get out of the Shadowdark to sell them and then go back for them again. Hopefully they are not being guarded by new creatures. Love it. So for all these reasons and a number of other ones, this is why I'm going to be heavily invested in this system. I think it's simply awesome. I'll be producing all sorts of content on this channel, everything from homebrew ideas to actual plays. So don't forget to give the channel a subscribe if you want to be notified when they actually go live. As a reminder, you can get the quick start rules for free, that word free, from the Shadowdark Kickstarter page. I mean, do it. I don't think you'll be disappointed, and they're free. You've literally got nothing to lose. Again, I've put the link to the Kickstarter in the comment section below. As it currently stands, the Kickstarter is smashing it. In English pounds, which is where I'm from, it's currently at £752,491, and that is pledged of a 8,237 goal. So, I mean, many times over what they were aiming for. They've got 8,618 backers, and there are still, at time of recording, 12 days to go. So a massive congratulations to Kelsey and the Arcane Library team, both for doing this incredible Kickstarter, but also for producing an amazing product. So not just congratulations, a big thank you from me. Well, that's why I believe you should play Shadowdark. And if you do, may you never run out of torches. Bye for now.